That's what I'm trying to do is get to my main page.
You are a mess, sir. A mess. Okay, we're live. Hi, we're live.
What? I wasn't ready.
You're supposed to be ready. You're the one that told me to go live like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, then you didn't, so now I wasn't ready.
Well, it wasn't time to go live yet. So I don't know what you're talking about, boo. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We're so excited to be coming to you live on Facebook and the YouTube.
Are we, though?
I really am.
I don't see anything on the YouTube. Let me see if it's actually kicked on or not. I gotta refresh.
Oh, my gosh.
We are.
So much drama.
In the LBC.
What does that mean?
Sorry.
I don't even know what you're saying. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, do all those things. Thumbs up. If you're on el YouTube, hit the button that says compartir, and that means share in Espanol.
Stop trying to throw out your language.
I'm just telling you. Like, share, whatever you got to do.
Why are you trying to, get rid of our English-speaking people?
I'm not.
Sabine, stop trying to leave.
Oh,
Lord. Go there and eat something.
This dog. So the first show she was on 2 weeks ago, she destroyed the cable that connects the camera.
Now she's trying to eat my cable for my computer. Hey.
See, I'm telling you, she's destructive. I have mine up in the air.
Well, I don't have a choice. I don't have that option.
Well, you're special. Okay, now I'm the one making noise here. My bad. How do I share?
You have to go back. Are you trying to go to the?
I'm on the El Facebook.
You hit the share button.
Where, babe?
Well, you're on that thing. Get out of there. You have to go to the actual one and then hit share.
Oh, I'm
You're
dumb.
Stupid.
I'm dumb. Show me how.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for watching.
Sorry about that. We're still trying to get it all worked out because we changed everything. We got weird lighting happening today.
We need some lights.
We got.
If anyone wants to donate to the light fund.
The light fund. We got weird lighting happening today. We've got. Oops. We got.
Dogs.
Dog issues. We have wiring issues.
Both the dogs are here, so if something goes
wrong. We got our ghetto banner going because we put our blackout curtain for our theater.
Room, yeah.
And then now the banner is not. It's sitting down where you can see it better, but it's in this weird amalgam pin to the curtain. So we're gonna make some adjustments to that.
You're so funny. You're like, it looks like we pinned it to the curtain. I'm like, we did.
And that's not what we wanted to do. So I was hoping it would look a little better than it actually does.
That's okay. You know us. And now I don't feel the fan. If you hear noise, there's a fan blowing, but the dog sat in front of the fan.
Well, he moved, but now it's just blowing on my feet.
Okay, well, I need to put my feet. Oh, I'm sorry, I just kicked another dog.
Down there now?
Okay, I do. If your feet are cold, you'll be cold.
I wish that was the case.
Well, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com.
This show sucks.
Go there. No, it doesn't. This is an awesome show. People have been watching.
Make sure you subscribe
years.
before we do anything. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on the Facebook.
Like, share, follow, whatever.
So that way you can get in on all the fun and nonsense and realize we upgrade our way we do things sometimes. But every time, believe it or not, every time we've tried to do something fancy, we get yelled at.
I know. People like the rawness of our show.
We like the ghetto nature of what we do, like the three people that watch it.
Yes.
So
and they love when we fight.
They love
when the dog comes on the camera and interrupts us.
So we purposely
cameras fall.
We purposely tried to upgrade the show from a standpoint to just be more efficient.
Yes.
But we haven't upgraded the show, obviously, from the crap we're doing.
Not at all.
So, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
So today we've got a variety of things to talk about. I don't know where you want to start first.
I don't even know. There's such a...
We also have one that you didn't put on there that I totally forgot to remind you.
Oh, I'll pad it.
But I have the Blu-ray, so it doesn't matter.
All right.
You want to start with that?
Let's start with this because it's been a while since this movie came out.
Oh, that? Okay, no, that's not what I said, but that's fine.
Oh.
Talking about the Blu-ray.
Oh, we'll do this, then we'll do your Blu-ray.
I want to do the Blu-ray first, and we get into the fancy
stuff. You know what? Let's do the Blu-ray that you were telling me about.
Yeah, last week we talked about Full Metal Jacket,
yes,
which spawned a whole new segment on our show of movies Drew hasn't seen.
There are many.
And so this week we went with a Halloween-ish movie, meaning a horror film. It's a classic. I'm a huge werewolf lover. She's a vampire lover. And so, no. He just blatantly walked by to try to bite the camera, people.
Okay.
Look, y'all can meet Sabine. That's Sabine. She's the new one. She's the new one in the family. So anyway, we are talking about the John Landis classic.
I was like, what?
American Werewolf in London. that my lovely wife has never seen.
No! And I know this is one of the ones where you dug the transformation and the fact that they did practical effects, and you've talked about it for a long time.
Yeah, it's one of those movies it's not a terrifying, scary movie.
Not at all.
But that one transformation scene makes the entire movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
And it's considered by a lot of people to be the best werewolf transformation scene ever.
Oh, wow.
That I think might only be surpassed by what was that series on Netflix about the werewolf? Remember the warring factions of werewolves? Oh my God. I just went blank. Anyway, what are you doing?
I'm looking up werewolves.
Look up Eli Roth, and then you can look at something he produced. But it was about this group of werewolves, and in that show, when they changed, they actually ripped their skin off, and underneath was the thing, and so then when they just ripped their skin off again.
Oh, that was cool.
Dog just knocked the fan over. Hey, stop.
Lord.
So now we don't get any air. So, okay. So we're going to do it. I got to move that because it's going to be loud.
It's loud. Sorry. Hemlock Grove.
Hemlock Grove, yes.
Yes, good one.
So that has a pretty badass...
yeah, because that was interesting. Like, underneath, like, that's who they are.
And they did a similar one, I think, in that movie Van Helsing, even though... Stop! Even though they did,
like a cat.
Even though the movie itself is not very strong, it had a pretty good werewolf transformation in it, kind of the same idea of peeling the skin off. So anyway, American Werewolf in London, they did a sequel called American Werewolf in Paris that you can forget exists. And
well, I want to see it, though. No, this is Werewolf Weekend. We're supposed to watch another
Well, I don't even own Paris. That's how bad I never even got it. I need to get it to heaven. But let's talk about this. So you had never seen this when you heard about it. What did you think of the movie as a whole, and then we'll discuss the little nuances of the movie.
I really liked it. I mean, I think it's a little dated in scenery and clothing, and...
Well, it's made in, what, 1980?
I know.
Whatever.
And in language, I think, because it's dated itself. But the cool thing that I thought was outstanding is the makeup effects it threw out, because there's one character that keeps... what is it when you die and you help me?
Rotting,
like throughout the entire film, and so I liked that.
It's kind of it's basically what happened in the movie is these two guys backpacking through England.
Yes.
And they get attacked by a werewolf.
Yes.
One of them is mauled and killed. The other one lives,
bitten.
And so stop. I'm being bitten over here.
Here.
And then
you're chewing.
So then starts dealing with, the whole movie is really him dealing with him slowly transforming into a werewolf.
Yes, and this guy's in his head.
Yeah, in his head he keeps seeing his friend's mauled body come talk to him.
So that's cool because it starts with just like the gash neck, but I like that they did they did enough that you can see like his skin.
It looks like you're seeing inside his.
Yeah, and so like you have the floppy, my skin was bitten off thing, so that's cool. And then he starts to like deteriorate to his finally he's like just like this black gray rotting eyeball thing. And that was so cool to me.
Yeah.
And I like when you do practical makeups and there's not all the CGI. I like that they take the time to do it.
What's crazy about this movie, and I'm always reminded once I rewatch it, is that there's not a lot of horror, bloody stuff in this movie. It's a very long story of just like there's a love story to it. There's a sadness to it, especially on the whole outcome of the whole thing. There's a sadness. It's more about this guy's dealing with everything that he's going through more so than the actual violence and killing. That's there, and then everything happens kind of at the end.
Yeah. And it was sad. I think that's the other thing. The other thing I really loved about it was the music throughout.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of good songs in this thing. So it's a lot of songs you will
You're not a big fan of how they did the werewolf.
I mean, it's
he has that big, thick, bear-like...
Yeah, it's more bearish down here, and I prefer maybe like a sleeker... I don't like when they go with the plain old wolf.
Yeah.
Like a wolf dog thing. I don't like that.
What's funny is I'm not a fan of that either, but for me, I like it in this movie.
This one, the bearish.
Yeah,
he's real big and bulky.
I think that's why I like it, because he feels...
This dog is insane. I'm sorry.
I feel like he feels bestial.
True.
Instead of just like the dog, he looks like he could stand up.
Yeah.
If he wanted to, but him running through the city and just like barking and biting at people makes you feel more like an animal than a monster.
And I did like the transformation because they take time to do the elongation of the fingers and the feet and how the bend of the weird.
My favorite is the snout.
The beginning of that was so pretty, actually. I mean, that's probably a weird way to describe werewolves, but the snout and everything, and then how it elongates, it is really nice. It's a good-looking transformation. Hey, lady, don't buy my cables. I will punch you in the face.
Don't say that. We don't punch animals.
I punch her.
She's just on YouTube now telling everybody you're going to punch your dog in the face.
I'm not going to punch her in the face.
I know you're not, but people
I would probably spank her like bad dog, which is what I do.
Anyway. But yeah, so this one.
Look at this spoiled girl.
So your verdict is?
Thumbs up. It's a keeper.
All right.
I would watch this every year on Halloween.
I love this movie. I think it's great.
It's really good.
But again, it's not my favorite werewolf movie, but my favorite transformation.
What is your favorite werewolf movie?
I'm kind of torn because I think I have 3 that are on my top tier. You have Silver Bullet, which I love. Did you watch it?
I think I did that one time.
Silver Bullet I love. Even though it's more of a cheesy love.
Yeah.
Because it's not a great werewolf movie, but it's kind of cheesy fun.
Yeah.
Ginger Snaps, which is awesome.
I was going to say.
And actually, you know what? Probably my top one is Dog Soldiers.
Oh.
That movie is just so badass.
I was going to say Ginger Snaps, probably.
I love Ginger Snaps. I love all 3 of them.
Yeah.
They're great werewolf movies.
Wasn't there a werewolf Nazi thing?
Ginger Snaps is, Dog Soldiers is kind of that, because that's the one where the military guys are on the...
that just got real loud again.
She knocked it over again.
Dang it, Sabine.
Now she laid down to stare at it, laying it upside down. I'll get it.
You had to fix it.
Dog Soldiers were like the soldiers are out like the military, whatever, and then they get attacked, and then they're in this cabin trying to survive against werewolves.
Mm.
And they're like, those are the ones that are like men in suit, big, tall things are busting into their cabin.
That would bring me to my favorite, which is
Underworld,
because that style I totally
She just likes
liked.
Underwears commercials.
No, I liked that in Underworld, when they started, they did the man in suit, on the stilts with the weird hind leg things. I liked that they went through the effort to do all that. So I do like Underworld. I like the whole series. And because it brings us to our thing, which is you're the werewolf person and I'm the vampire person.
Yeah. So I do love the Underworld movies for all their flaws that they have periodically in some of them. I do love them all. They all have different things that are good and bad. Mm-hmm. I think I probably like Underworld. Is it 3? That's the one that's like the past one.
Yes.
Because that one brings a ton more werewolves in it. That's the only reason I like it more.
On the war.
It's the same way with Harry Potter. I think it's Harry Potter 3.
Yeah.
That I like because that's when they bring the teacher that's a werewolf.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like the way the werewolf looks in that one.
This dog. You're being disruptive to our show.
Everything?
Go lay down.
Go lay down. Come on.
Come on. You're messing up our show. Our professional show that we do.
Yes, that nobody cares about.
That's okay.
Anyway.
All right.
This is par for the course for every episode we've done because we've had times where, for people that haven't been with us from the beginning, we've had episodes where lighting fell on her head.
That was funny.
We've had things where, cameras just completely fall over.
Our internet goes out.
We had internet stuff go out. Of course, we had her bite the cable in half.
That was not cool. It's so much.
We've had all kinds of
That's okay. Happen. You know what? This is not a professional show. This is our fun,
so let's move on.
All right, next. I'm going to this movie next.
Which one?
This one.
Okay. So the next one is one that came out around, I think it was like September 8th or something. It was supposed to be in a festival that got canceled because of the Corona stuff. So it got dropped by Vertical Entertainment on digital and on-demand stuff.
She just jacked the camera.
Did she?
Yeah, look. We're all skewed.
Can you move it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this dog.
You want to let her out and go?
Well, I can't let her out and just run free.
No, but you go put
unless you want me to leave the door open.
Whoa. Yeah, I guess.
Is that good enough?
Yes, that's good. Thank you.
No, she's got to learn.
You got to learn, girlfriend.
Anyway, but it stars one of my favorite people.
It is your favorite.
John Leguizamo. It's a movie that he not only stars in, but he also directed. And what is it called?
It's called Critical Thinking. It's a game. It's about chess.
And it's based on a true story about in 1998, Miami high school chess team.
Miami high school people that made it all the way to be national champions.
And I think they held it for like a few years or something.
I'm gonna have to go look that up. But
we happened to run across it. I heard about it a long time ago and forgot about it.
Yeah.
And then it actually got dropped, and then we were just looking for something to watch and found it on Amazon.
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime for pay-per-view.
You do have to rent it.
Yeah, we paid to rent it. We're not given a free copy.
Yeah.
And so he plays a teacher that's teaching them chess, and it's what I found interesting is it's one of those. easily stereotypical on the surface stories of like the kids in the ghetto and the gangs and the drugs, and it could have been very cliched and all about race and all this stuff, and it's about people of color without being about people of color.
Oh my gosh, this dog is insane.
I know. You know what I'm saying? It's a movie it's not a movie about people of color, it's a movie with people of color dealing with their environment.
Exactly.
And you wouldn't think a movie about chess is overly engaging. But it was actually
This one has it was a good movie.
Yeah, it was really good.
I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I like that we're getting these stories finally told, because they're few and far between, like the one with George Lopez and the science kids.
Yeah. Somebody was thinking that this was going to be like another Dangerous Minds, where the white lady comes and saves, and this time it's just a Hispanic teacher saves them. But it's
not.
The gang violence and death and things that are there are kind of the backdrop just for you to understand.
This movie's crazy.
To understand their environment, but the movie is about them. It's never once having this like you're a dumb kid or racist stuff, and it's just the products of their environment and what they're dealing with. And you only like there's a few things that I had an issue with that felt like unresolved storylines. Like there's one about a kid's dad. There's one about this other kid who gets murdered. There's another one about another kid in the drugs.
Oh, that thing was.
They all felt, and initially to me I was irritated because it felt like they set me up for all this stuff and then did nothing with it. But then I realized that it was really to set the tone and environment of what they're dealing with.
Yeah. And
what they're trying to get out of, not about that.
That one poor kid that got murdered, by the way.
It comes out of nowhere.
Like, I was like, what? And it's shocking. It's early in, and there's a lot of other things in this movie that I think are kind of difficult to watch.
But it's also not a movie that, I mean, obviously little kids probably shouldn't watch it with somebody getting shot, but it's still a movie that almost everybody could watch.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's a good movie. And I think it's an important story to know and that we tell and that we share.
It's kind of inspiring.
It is. And then we're both like, we don't even understand chess.
I don't play chess. I don't get it.
I have a chess set. I don't know how to play it.
But the upside is you don't need to understand it.
No, you don't.
It's interesting. I found some of the best scenes of the movie to be when he's teaching and explaining the movements of chess and how they're talking about the moves and why you do it. But it's also one of those metaphors of how chess is like life.
It really
you make
is.
This move and this move. This move creates this move in your life, and this move determines if you stand tall or whatever. And it's also used in the movie as power. There's a situation where one of the kids and his dad have kind of this hard relationship, if you will.
They're struggling.
And the dad kind of uses chess as his way of saying, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when he finally can't beat his son, it takes their relationship to a more dark area because he no longer has something to push him around.
But the other thing that I liked about that story, we don't get total resolution, but there's one scene towards the end with the dad where you see the dad picking up the textbook to learn the moves that his son's been doing.
Because he's realizing
he's like, oh my gosh, there's more to learn. And I think that's what the other thing about life, there's always more to learn.
Yeah, and he didn't like that his son was becoming better than him.
Well,
you know, not in a whole way, but in general, he's bettering himself in a way that it probably made him jealous.
Yeah,
and he was dealing with his own pain.
He had some issues,
and he wasn't just an abusive father situation, which could have been super cliche.
Yeah,
he was dealing with loss of his own and taking it out on his son because the whole connection. And I've seen people do that for real. So it.
What is she doing now?
I think she went in over there and came out over here.
She did, but your plug for your thing's missing.
I took it off a while back.
Okay.
Because I didn't want her to.
The other thing
she went under the couch, crawled under the couch, and crawled back out.
Sometimes she acts like the cat. I think because she's been watching the cat. Anyhow, the other thing that I like is that for a lot of these guys, chess literally saved their life.
Yeah.
It really did. It took them out of the gangs and out of the drug dealing and all that, and like gave them something else to do.
Well, there's this one moment. Kind of cap this talk about this movie off. By the way, John Leguizamo was awesome in the movie.
He's always
great.
He's good. Please check out.
I believe this is the second movie he directed. The first one was, I think, a boxing movie, TV movie.
Please check out his one-man show, Latin History for Morons.
And I put a plug for it in the review.
Please do. I've watched it like 3 times.
And you should also watch The Pest, because The Pest is awesome. It doesn't get the love it deserves. But there's a moment, there's one part of the movie that we don't get a real resolution to, But at the end of the movie, we got her favorite thing.
Proper, true story ending.
Where we get to see the people now.
Yes.
And
I'm so happy.
It tells you what might have happened to that other person.
Yes.
Without telling you the story,
yeah,
you get the resolution of what really happened. And so that's the first thing she knows. She goes, oh my gosh. You know.
Woo!
So,
but I mean, and even the teachers there and the guy, like, they're there.
And they're talking about how this
it changed
their lives and friendship.
I mean, it's a big
different.
Deal. Yeah. And it did bring people. I think that's one of the other things at the beginning. You see these people kind of fighting to be better, but it teaches them how to be a team and how to work together.
Yeah.
Because you do have like your white guy, your black guy, your Hispanic person, your person from another country. Everybody trying to get together and figure it out and work as a team. And I love that their celebration is always at
Red Lobster.
That was like the height of like fancy dining.
And that place is a perfect metaphor of where they're from.
Yes.
Because you can always. Fancy. I found years ago, and I'm sure most people think the same thing is you can always tell a social class to what
their fancy restaurant
what they consider to be an expensive restaurant. And
yeah.
If you're still somebody that thinks Red Lobster is fancy, now given this was also the 90s.
Okay.
But if you think Red Lobster is fancy, then that means you probably don't have a lot of money. Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. I was in that same category.
Hey, that was
if we got to go to Red Lobster, or if we got to go to Steak and Ale back in the day.
I love Steak and Ale.
Those were like some pricey places
to
go to.
Yes, it was. And I had to make sure I ate all my food.
Yeah, and growing up in a place with no money, if we got to go out, and that kind of thing was usually a special occasion, or going with my grandmother. My grandmother always had money.
Yeah.
So she would take us out. If my grandmother taking us, I knew we were going somewhere good, or we're going to end up in El Phoenix.
Somewhere nice. Oh, she loved El Phoenix, didn't she? We would go there all the time. Anyways,
and it was weird because she dipped her chips in her water sometimes. It was weird.
Check out Critical Thinking. It's available now on Amazon Prime. You can rent it for $4.99.
And John Leguizamo is awesome at everything.
He is. He seems like a very, very nice person.
He has tweeted me before.
Oh, that's nice, baby.
Because I think it was John Wick 2.
Yeah.
When I made a comment about bringing him back, and then I was very upset that he did not show up in John Wick 3. Yeah. And I made a comment of I don't understand why he's not John. And he commented on that too because I don't understand it either. So I hope he comes back because they made a very specific thing that he was involved in the call. Yeah. So I'm hoping that maybe John Wick 4 that they're doing.
Well, I want to watch all these John Wicks again.
Maybe that's a place for him to go because he's got a whole new thing he's got to do after John Wick 3.
I think my dad would like John Wick.
I don't know. It might be too violent for your dad.
I don't know. He likes what's his name back in the day?
Charles Bronson.
And Equalizer and those.
Yeah, but those movies are not near as violent as John Wick.
Maybe not. All right.
Anyway,
next movie.
Moving on.
What do we want to talk about next? I don't care. You have.
Let's talk about these two because let's talk about that scenario. Okay, so
what's a scenario?
There's this thing called Welcome to the Blumhouse. I mentioned it last week. It's on Amazon Prime. And they basically have taken the anthology story idea, but they're making them in feature films. So they're not connected as a one story. They're releasing them as full-length features, but under the umbrella of the Welcome to the Blumhouse, because Blumhouse Productions is putting them out. So this week they put out the first two, which was Black Box and The Lie. And then next week we got two more, and then I think there's going to be a total of 8. So what's the first one we're going to talk about, ma'am?
We can talk about Black Box.
So the first one we're going to talk about is Black Box. And what it is I don't know if you kind of noticed this, but if I'm not mistaken, from the promotions for some of this, all of the movies are done are like a diverse cast and crew of filmmakers.
Yes.
So they're all like different cultures and different things. If you look at the names of people that have written and directed these films, they're all people of different nationalities and races and whatever. And that was kind of part of this idea.
The other thing that I'm liking just with the release of these two movies is you're going to see the poster for this one has this up here, and the poster for the next one's down here.
No, they're not all like that.
No, I know, but I like that these two came out together, and one has to do with what's going on here, one has to do with
because the next two, which
I thought that was cute about the poster.
Yeah, the next two, which is Evil Eye and Nocturne, are a little different because I think Evil Eye is the one that's got like a Hispanic lady's face, but it's split down the middle with two looking same person. It looks like with different types of faces.
I just thought these two posters to come out together were interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, Black Box is about. Well, why don't you tell them what it's about?
So Black Box is the story of this man. What is his name? name? I don't remember.
It's hard to say.
Okay, his name is.
It's got the first name on the starring thing.
Oh.
It starts with an M.
Okay, Mamadou Ahi. I'm probably butchering your name, and I apologize. You deserve better. His character. So it's this guy Nolan. He was in a car accident, and
he has memory loss.
His wife passed away.
Yeah.
I believe in the accident.
I believe so.
He survives, but with major brain damage. And when we open the movie, like there's sticky notes everywhere because he does not remember.
And his little girl, who can't be more than seven,
8. She's having to really take care of him.
She's awesome in the movie.
That little girl is good.
She's got an attitude, and she's like, at one point, like he's going to get cigarettes out of the glove box, and she's like, "Dad, you don't smoke." And he's like, "You sure?" She goes, "Dad, you don't smoke." Yeah. So it's like, and it makes you wonder, did he smoke before? Now she's using that as an advantage to say you don't smoke anymore.
But she has to remind him, like, turn left. You work here. Remember when you get to work? Who's this lady? Like, she's quizzing him. She's having to really, like, take care of the whole house.
And that becomes a big theme to the movie because there's moments that really hurt her, and as a child, she can't always understand it. She knows what he's dealing with, but emotionally, she can't always just let it go. Like when she forgot to pick her up, or there's moments where like he gets kind of angry, and she loves him, and she's not afraid of him, but she also, like, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm a child.
Yeah, I mean, she's doing as much as she can. Her name is Amanda Christine. She is the cutest little thing ever.
But so the story is he goes to a specialist, a brain specialist, played by Felicia. I'm not used to seeing her in.
No.
It's kind of different.
But I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked her in this. And I was wondering, like, what's Mrs. Huxtable doing? Because that's your visual. Is Mrs. Huxtable or Mrs. Creed now?
Oh, Mrs. Creed, yeah. I forgot about that.
And so I don't expect her to be in anything kind of horror, dark thriller,
because this was kind of a thriller-like.
Yeah.
It's got some horror elements.
Yeah.
But
there's
not
that
scary.
one thing that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so she's this memory specialist or whatever, and so she puts him in what's called the black box to try to bring back his memories. And so you start seeing things that don't really make sense.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought I knew what it was, but I didn't know how. And it was what I thought it was. But the cool thing is, I like some of the effects in this.
Yeah, it was cool the way they were dealing with the stuff in his mind.
The memory loss, too. Like, he can't see faces. And so I'm like, this is creepy.
Yeah, and it has some cool twists and turns that some people might figure them out right away. Some people might be like, wait, what?
Yeah, and there's a turn, and then there's another turn. So don't worry.
Yeah.
And there's this one thing where it has to be some contortionist person.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking.
There's like this creature.
Hey, I'm talking
Okay,
here.
I see. There's some sort of a creature that looks like it's after him.
Yeah.
In his memory, in his mind, if you will. So that's cool because it like jumps out like, rah, rah. And yeah, that part was cool. I really liked it.
Everybody wondering about Vader. Vader's underneath this table
He's
asleep.
being a good dog. This dog is hyped up. She's a baby.
She's a spaz.
She's probably just a little over a year old, so she's still technically a puppy, and she has a lot of energy. And our other animals are old and grumpy, and we're old and grumpy, so we're trying to deal with this.
I don't know why somebody needed another animal.
Well, I was missing
But
Anya.
she lives here now.
I know. I mean, unless somebody wants her.
No.
She's trained.
No.
Kind of.
I have a firm belief once an animal goes to your home, they stay there.
Yeah.
Come here.
Anyhow. Overall,
it's going to be near her.
Overall, I totally liked this movie. It was good. It was a little creepy at times. It's not scary.
Yeah, no, but it's a good movie.
But it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I liked it.
So, with that said, there's another film that came out part of Welcome to the Blumhouse, which is called The Lie. Mm-hmm. This one stars Joey King, Peter Sarsgaard.
Yeah.
And then what is the lady's name? I always forget.
Mariel Enos.
Enos. She's from Brave, right? I know she's from The Killing, but I think she did the voice of...
Yeah, and The Killing, and then also, if you're back in the day, she was on the...
Samin, stop.
The show with
The Killing.
No, but before that, she was on the... She was one of the wives in the show about the polygamists.
She was on that show.
Yeah, she was.
Was she?
She was the old guy's, one of the wives
was
there.
She?
Yeah. She was the lady with the braid.
I don't remember that.
Who died in the truck like this.
Oh, was that her?
That was her.
I remember that.
That's where I remember her from, and then the killing, and then now this.
Anyway,
Anywho,
she's always good.
She's good. So if you see this poster, so you saw the first one was the guy's mind. Now it's the lady's mouth because it's the lie.
And for those of you who don't know who Joey King is, she showed up in The Conjuring, but she's also a huge, massive hit on Netflix, the Kissing Booth films.
Yeah, that's her.
Kissing Booth 1 and 2, and they got 3 coming out.
Anywho, okay, so this movie, overall, I told you, made me mad.
This movie's more of a thriller. It's more of a mystery thriller, like a whodunit.
A whodunit kind of thing.
So the premise is this girl who's dealing with her divorced parents. She's supposed to go to some kind of a dance camp. Doesn't really want to go, but she doesn't ever want to do anything because she's just a teenager. Yeah. And on the way there, they see one of her friends, bus stop or whatever. They pick her up to ride together. They have to pull over for something, and then there's an accident. And so then after the accident, the rest of the movie kind of plays off the accident and trying to unfold what really happened at the accident, who was really involved, what's real, what's not. And then you have people trying to cover up what they think happened. You have other people trying to unfold it. So then it becomes a whole web of lies and deceit and treachery and
of
twists
course,
and turns.
when you tell a lie, you have to use another word to cover the first lie. And then suddenly police are involved. And then there's a lie for that. And then where were you? Oh, I was here. Oh, but you weren't. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
And then people come looking for them. And then the police are like, everybody's looking for everybody. And it becomes this whole thing. And then trying to hide evidence and stuff here. It's a crazy movie. And it's all lies throughout the entire thing. It's crazy.
One of these things that, like, I figured the movie out from the beginning. But it wasn't in
the way
it didn't play out the way I thought it was going to play out. But I wasn't wrong, but I wasn't.
That's how I felt about the box. I knew what it was, but not how. And this, you kind of knew what it was.
You were irritated because of the way it turned out more than anything.
Well, and I didn't think it was what it like. You figured out. I didn't. I believed.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing, like I was following the story. I was like that, boom, boom, boom. But I'm telling you.
But I thought there's a whole element in the middle that I thought was going to take it in a different direction. And this was the reason why this was happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this makes more sense. It's going to unfold. And you're going to find some dark, sinister thing, but it's not there.
Yeah.
And so in turn, it made it like, wait, what? And it is infuriating.
It is.
Because there's an element of annoying realness to it.
Yeah.
And that, holy shit, this dog is falling all over. I'm trying to lay down next to Vader, but breaking my ankle at the same time.
Take your foot up.
I can't move it any further. I'm where I'm at. But yeah, it's just it works, but it's one of those that might not work for everybody.
Yeah, you might not like it, and that's okay.
I really enjoyed it for what it was. It is slow.
It is slow.
There's elements that, and I think the stuff that's irritating is the real life stuff, is because you realize people really do this kind of stupid crap.
So dumb. That's the other thing that I think that frustrated me is like if you're gonna try to plan something, like in this one, like a whodunit or get away with something, like don't be dumb. Like people do dumb stuff when you're trying to hide and cover up stuff and you're doing something stupid. Like, oh, they're not home, but they're standing right there. That is the dumb. Like, why do people do these things? And like, oh, I wasn't there, but like, oh, but so and so says you were. Like that didn't happen. But I'm just saying. Cover your tracks.
I've talked to people. I had a friend.
These are not criminal masterminds.
I had a friend years ago who was being unfaithful.
So that I can.
And I'm not going to mention any names. But
they know who they are.
Yeah, they knew who they were. But he was being unfaithful, and I didn't know this at the time. But we were always suspect because he would say
when you go someplace strange by yourself that we know is not a by yourself place.
And he'd be like, oh, I was just bored, so I went. And immediately you're like, there's no way you're by yourself. And then it comes out of what really happened. You're like, well, duh, we all knew that. We just didn't know who and how and what.
Yeah.
So I always told him, I'm like, look, dude, I don't know what you're doing, but don't be stupid. It's like if you feel the need to hide something or you whatever, tell a better story, man, or tell the truth in a different way or something. I'm not owning that behavior, but if you got to hide something, man, don't hide something. Because that's what most people do wrong in these kind of situations is they do act or
you act weird.
Say something that is not normal.
Don't be suspicious.
Like come home and say if I come home and she's like, where have you been? I was like, I was out with some hoes. Then she's gonna be like, shut up, you moron, and walk away. I might have been out with the hose, but because I said it, that's going to throw her off the scent. If she was like, I'm like, who spent all this money? She goes, I don't know. I didn't spend any money. And I'm like, all right.
That's what I always say.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm not saying it's okay to lie or deceive people, but if you got to get away with something, you don't act stupid or don't act like a liar.
Who knows?
Anyway.
The cool thing
Speaking
about
of which, I need to call my hose later.
The thing I did like about this movie was the use of color throughout. Because there are some things that are really bright, and it's like, oh, something's happening here. I better track that. And then the rest of it's very muted, kind of gray tones where everything is just kind of gray. And it's like their whole life is gray and sad and depressed. Yeah. But then there's moments of real bright colors, and you're like, ooh, okay.
And I think
so it's interesting.
I thought Joey King was really good in the film.
She was good.
Because she has to go through kind of a gamut of emotions and behaviors.
Yeah.
And none of them are balanced to make you really understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Because there's one, like, she should be really depressed and just bothered after everything happens. But there's moments where she's watching TV kind of laughing. But at the same time, the parents look at her like, what? Stop. The parents look at her like, what's your problem? Why are you so happy?
But then again, I mean, you don't know how people react to stressors or sadness in your life. There is no right way to be sad.
Right. But society will tell you there is and get mad at you for not.
Yeah, if you're not sitting at home crying, being depressed.
But it's like that documentary thing we were talking about last week that we watched, The Murder Next Door or whatever.
Yes.
And how that guy, they were like, this guy's, he never acts like this. And he was acting fidgety. I was so irritated when he was talking to the police. And he's like, I don't know. Why not just, if you already knew, you did what you did.
Like, we already knew at the beginning, because the neighbor's like, he never talks this much. I'm like, I knew it was him.
Why don't you just be like, he didn't need to cry or anything, just be like, I just want him to come home, whatever. Like, there's moments that he did the right thing, and then
like, don't be dumb. That's what I'm telling you.
Anyway. But The Lie and Black Box are available now on Amazon Prime.
They're both good.
They're both decent movies. Everybody's going to react slightly different to them because of those kind of movies. And then next week we have two more, Nocturne and Evil Eye, which we'll talk about. And then I don't even know what the next four after that are yet, but hopefully I'll know this week. All right, moving on.
What movie do we want
to go to that one.
Next? Which one?
Do you mean talk about the one I saw by myself?
Sure.
The one at the front?
Yeah.
All right, so this next one is a family comedy with Robert De Niro and Oaks Fegley.
Like him.
Called War with Grandpa. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this movie was made back in 2018.
Oh, wow.
And it had Harvey Weinstein's name on it. And, of course, we all know what happened with him.
Now I'm worried she actually needs to go outside.
Well, if you need to take her out while I'm talking about this, you
can. I'll go this way.
Y'all are going to even get around that way?
Gymnastics.
There's not a lot of space over there.
Yes, I can.
Are you going to crawl?
I'm going to crawl.
Oh, goodness.
No, I'm going to go around it.
The movie it's a family comedy.
Nope, I'm going to crawl under it. Woo! Get down.
Hold on, let me do this for her so we don't have any kind of an accident. It's a family comedy that's kind of similar to...
Uh-oh. Watch out. Come on, watch out.
It's like a mixture of Home Alone meets Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And the story is basically this older gentleman, Robert De Niro's character, who's the grandpa. He has some situations that goes through, and he can no longer live by himself. And so Uma Thurman, who plays his daughter and Fegley's mom, Rob Riggle plays his dad. They have him come live with them, but they don't really have places for him in the house. So when he moves in, he ends up having to take the little boy's room. And so they move the little boy up into the attic. And you put her outside?
Yes.
Okay. So he moves into the little boy's room. They move the little boy into the attic, which is a cool room. I'm not sure why he was upset in the first place, but whatever. It's principle, I guess.
Can you see me crawling around?
Yeah, she's over here. If y'all only saw what was happening over here. So anyway, basically his friends convince him that you can't let them take your property, so you need to go to war.
Yikes.
And so he actually puts a letter to his grandpa declaring war.
Oh, my gosh.
And his grandpa never says anything about it, and he finally says, okay, we'll go to war together. He goes, but his grandpa being a veteran, he goes, we need to sit down and decide the rules of engagement.
Right.
So he's like, what are you talking about? There's no rules in war. He goes, of course there are. So they start writing what you can and can't do during this, so it becomes essentially a prank war.
Funny.
And then also it happens to end up being this group of kids versus the group of old people that are his friends on some stuff, which include Robert De Niro, obviously. Then you got Christopher Walken, Jane Seymour, and Cheech Marin.
This is a weird collection.
It is. It's such a weird group of people in this movie, and it is cheesy. It's silly. It's goofy. But I had a blast with this movie.
That's cool.
Because they're doing stuff together. They like attacking each other, and it gets over the top with people like sitting in a chair and they put like an airbag so it shoots them up in the air, which that old person would have died when they landed.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Trees falling on houses, sentimental things being broken. But at the heart of the movie is this grandpa. Like, what I really liked was there wasn't a real anger. The frustration of the little boy wanted his thing. Yeah. Grandpa just trying to appease him because he knew how frustrating it was. Yeah. But there's like a moment where they have this really bad prank thing, and then the little boy goes, "Hey, Grandpa," he goes, "Love you." He goes, "Love you too, kid." And then they go back to war.
Oh, so
but it ends up actually bringing them closer together. Very stereotypical ending that we all know happens.
That's fine.
The War of Grandpa is actually a fun little family film. I just love seeing Robert De Niro do things that aren't Robert De Niro.
Yes.
Like comedy, like The Internship. Even though I don't think it's a great movie, but he's great in it.
I know
that
movie.
The Meet the Fockers movies.
Those are fun.
Anytime you take De Niro and you put him in more of a lighthearted comedy, weird environment that he doesn't belong in,
I love it.
I usually enjoy him, and he's really good here. Him and Fegley seem to have a really good chemistry.
I like that little Fegley kid.
And this movie, not Tenet off, #1 spot at the box office because there's nothing else.
There's nothing else.
But Tenet has been #1 since it opened. And so War with Grandpa finally knocked it off.
Oh, that's sweet.
So now it's #2.
I like the little Fegley kid because he was in that Goldfinch movie, which he was the bright star of the Goldfinch movie because it's very slow. But it's a good movie.
War with Grandpa's in theaters and I believe on demand and that kind of thing as well.
Oh, cool. All right.
So let's move to this one.
All right. I was so looking forward to this movie, and I am so glad we finally got to see it.
Why don't you tell us about it, ma'am?
So this movie is called Spontanious. And I'm sure you've seen the preview. It's where people just suddenly start spontaneously combusting in a high school. And people start screaming and scattering, and they're trying to figure out what the heck is going on because it just randomly starts happening.
And there's never an explanation, which I love so much.
And really, this movie's not even about that. It's an actual, a love story between these two people here, played by Katherine Langford and Charlie Plummer. And it is like the cutest little romance, like a little romantic comedy amidst this tragedy of people spontaneously combusting and blood and guts going everywhere.
It is a quirky, strange, because you tend to forget, it starts off with a bang and this weird narration and somebody blowing up, blood all in your face. It's not graphic, but it's very bloody.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they go into these romance stories, a teen comedy, teen love story that... You get so involved in that you forget the movie you were watching, and then someone blows up again.
Yeah, and then it brings you back, and I think that's where they're at. It's like they're falling in love or whatever, and then suddenly somebody blows up, and like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad it wasn't you.
Yeah, and then there's their friends, and then there's different things going on, and it's a quirky, strange little film.
And then it's interesting. We don't really know if it's happening anywhere else. We know it's just happening to all these high school kids.
Yeah.
But we don't know why.
Well, it's written and directed by the guy that wrote Underwater, did the screenplay for Underwater, the one with Kristen Stewart.
Yes.
And also the Babysitter movies, the first Babysitter movie that's on Netflix, like a slasher flick. He did one of the Divergent movies. So it's kind of like a weird, an eclectic.
It says an explosive love story.
It very really much is.
It's so cute.
I really like this movie. And it had no business working.
It didn't, but it was so good.
And there's one point, she's like, why are you everybody running? Because people start exploding and everybody starts running. But what are you running for? But it's like, what else do? You don't know.
Because what if running is what causes the energy to build up? And
but it doesn't because people are just sitting in class exploding. I think my favorite one of all the people, because there's some clever explosions.
There's some good ones.
My favorite is there's this one guy who's freaked out. You don't know him or anything, but he's wearing baseball pads and a helmet and all this stuff, and he's padded up, determined to not get blood on him and to protect himself. So when he blows up, his suit is just empty.
And it just falls over. It's just liquefying.
And there's a clever use of when they talk about each student that blows up, of using their yearbook photo session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is fun.
They'll show them right after they explode, and they'll tell a little history about that character.
That person.
And they're not important characters to the bigger story. It's just to let you know what's happening.
Yeah. I like that, though, too. They're trying to investigate, why. And you really don't ever know why.
No, and
they do all these tests and things, and nobody ever tells us anything.
Yeah, they do the tests and do the things with a montage.
Yeah, we need a montage.
That's the only reason I even said it. But what I thought was clever was it had a real element of the kids never seemed really afraid. They seemed annoyed. Like teenagers would be. They were annoyed by having to deal with this. They get annoyed by being put in quarantine. Mm-hmm. They get annoyed by being sent back to school.
Yes.
And they're annoyed when there's somebody's like, well, we're working hard. And they're like, shut up. No, you're not. You know, it was a typical teenager response as opposed to the adults who are like, oh, what should we do? Like, they're back to playing hockey and talking and smoking weed and hanging out. Like, nothing happened.
Yeah.
You know, like kids do all the time. It's like something bad happens and they're like, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird movie, man, but I liked it.
I did too. It was great.
I thought it was fun.
It was.
And some of the explosions or the spontaneous combustions got me. Like, I was like, whoa, because they come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it was just like one, and then sometimes it'd be like boom, boom, boom. And then
there's one big one where there's a ton of it happening. It's great.
And then the interesting thing too is like we do have all the parents who are concerned, but nobody tells them anything either. So I felt like we were the parents, like nobody told us, and nobody told them. Like nobody knows.
There's a great scene too that with her talking to her parents, which is already weird because it's played by Piper Perabo and.
Yeah, you're like, how old are we that Piper Parabo's now a mom?
But she's telling them, it's in the trailer too, where she's like something about, you know how the parents always like to say our childhood was way worse than yours.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, your childhood. She goes, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you won this one, man.
So anyway, so it's another one that's available now on demand and digital. It's great fun.
You need to watch it.
It is very bloody, but it's not gory. So if you're somebody who doesn't like gore, there's not like.
First of all, what's wrong with you?
There's a couple of moments where you just see like the flappy head, but this is really more a whole body explosion. So when they explode, it's just blood splatters everywhere. There's not meat. There's not chunks.
There's some chunks.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like a heavy brain or something like that. A head floating around. Like they burst into nothing.
They burst.
It's just blood everywhere.
It's interesting that their clothes don't burst. Like all their stuff, that is literally them.
Yeah, it's just their skin exploding.
It's weird.
So it's not really.
It's very weird and strange.
Well, why would your clothes explode? Because it's not like
Because
fire.
you would think if you explode, wouldn't your stuff explode?
Well, I think it just tears off.
Like in real life explosions, but this is a combustion.
But this is bloody. Your body's blowing up. It's like a water balloon exploding. Mm. If you had a water balloon in your shirt and it exploded, it's not gonna blow your shirt off. It's just gonna blow water everywhere.
That's true. All right. Well, let's not combust.
All right, let's not.
All right.
If you really love combustion, you can also watch the one episode of Buffy that I saw 750 times about cheerleaders exploding, because that was the only episode I ever saw. I thought this entire show was about Buffy, the spontaneous combusting vampire.
That is season 1, The Witch.
Every time this is not a joke. I've talked about it on the show before. Every single time I tried to watch Buffy on television, it happened to be that same stupid, spontaneous busting cheerleader episode, to where I honestly thought that's what the show was about.
That's one episode.
I wasn't realizing, I think, at some point that it was just one episode, because I'm starting to think, does this show just about people exploding and there's vampires involved? Like, I was like, this show is stupid.
You're dumb.
I'm dumb.
You're dumb.
UPN was dumb for playing that one episode so often.
That's all they had. Okay,
all right, so let's move on.
Moving on. Last movie we're going to talk about today.
Is it?
Yes, this is it. We've talked about all of these.
Oh, yes.
So we're to the last one.
The last one, which he gets a bad rap these days.
I don't know why.
Well, his movies aren't up to par where they used to be on a lot of them.
Really?
Icon comedy actor Adam Sandler, who's coming fresh off his award-nominated big hit of Uncut Gems, is back with a film completely different, returning to his goofy roots of Little Nicky and Waterboy mentality.
I'm honest angel.
with his latest Netflix.
I don't know why I love that movie so much. It's
another one of my friends apparently loves it and is very upset that I don't like it. So I told him I'm going to revisit it.
Yes, let's watch it again.
But it's a new movie called, is it Hubie or Hubie?
It's Hubie.
Hubie's Halloween.
His name is Hubert.
It's Hubie Halloween. And if you don't know, the reason it's on Netflix is not because Adam Sandler's star power went down. It's because genius Adam Sandler signed a multi-million-dollar
This was before COVID. This was a couple of years ago.
Well, this was years ago, and this was before box office was struggling.
He was smart. He knew, hey, Netflix is going to be the thing.
This is also before Netflix had a ton of movies. He signed this multi-million-dollar deal with like The Ridiculous Six and a few other ones.
Multi-movie deal. Yeah, man. He was smart.
And he doesn't have to worry about ratings anymore. Yet this was the #1 film of the weekend
on Netflix.
It's about a young man, or an older man, named Hubie, who is clearly on the spectrum of some level.
A little bit, maybe.
And he's just a super nice guy who tries to keep the town safe and happy. And you knocked over Paddington Bear. And they live in Salem. And so he's trying to make sure that everybody in town is safe.
Yes, has a safe Halloween.
He kind of takes it upon himself to be the town monitor.
Is what it says. And he wears this little sash that says monitor. He's the Halloween monitor.
Yes, and the police are annoyed with him because he's constantly reporting people for something. Kevin James plays the head, I guess the police chief or whatever. Then you have Steve Buscemi, who's a new neighbor.
Yeah.
You got Kenan Thompson, who's one of the police officers. Mm-hmm. June Squibb, one of my all-time favorites.
I love her. She showed up. I'm like, oh, your favorite.
She's basically the Kathy Bates mama character.
Yes.
But she has this ongoing gag with T-shirts that are all perverted T-shirts.
And they're all like men, like one that says like check out my balls or something.
Yeah, it's all about boners and balls.
I'm like, but she told them.
None of them know what they are.
No, but she just said, look, I got this new shirt at the thrift store for $1. You know, and all her and her friend.
And then he's like, well, it's like something about a boner. He's like, what's a boner? And she goes, I don't know, I think that's something that's a joke in the military or something. None of it makes any sense. It's really silly.
So then he starts saying boner inappropriately.
Yeah, and then there's a running gag of his thermos.
Oh my gosh. This is like the MacGyver of thermoses.
I classified it as the Batman utility belt.
It's a utility belt thermos. So
of the 60s Batman belt.
He wears this big thermos and he's like, I made this myself in my shop.
But I said it Scouts.
Oh, whatever. He made it himself. But
it is everything.
It has soup. It has coffee. It has binoculars. It has a saw. It has a flashlight.
It shoots stuff.
It's a boomerang thingy. You can swing through trees. I mean, everything. He grabs his thermos, and at first I'm like, this is dumb, but then it gets really funny.
It gets catchy.
Oh my gosh.
And let me tell you, this movie is awesome.
It's so funny.
It's so stupid.
It's
so ridiculous. Movie. And it has all the same cast of characters in
all his friends are
Adam Sandler's world that you see in every movie. And it's one of those that I've been happy to see a lot of people posting about, saying, this is a fun movie.
It is.
And it's not just people attacking Adam Sandler. Like, Adam Sandler, I've always respected him, even if I didn't like the movies, because he makes the movie he wants to make, and he gives all of his friends work. Mm-hmm. And he produces a lot of their bullshit movies.
Yeah.
And
it's fine.
That's why people are loyal to him.
Yes, because he puts all these people you see in the those are his friends that are in every movie. Paul Blart, always in a movie.
Kevin James. And he's a later friend to the group.
And then, what's his name? Rob Schneider's always in his movie.
And he'll show up for like one scene sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can do it! You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, just random things. Like, but they're always all in these movies together.
I don't know if you know this, but they did a tour recently. And it was David Spade, Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Rob Schneider, I forgot who else did it. And they basically, for every city they went to, it happened to be different groups of them.
Oh, okay.
And so they just went around. That's when that Adam Sandler special we watched.
Yes.
You know, and then he sang the Chris Farley song.
Yes.
That's from that special, but that was just his part of it.
That's cool. And then we do get his love interest here, which was it's interesting to see her, but I'm so glad to see her in this movie. And it's the mom.
Julie Bowen?
Yeah, the mom from the Family Show.
No, Modern
Family.
Yeah.
But yeah, Julie Bowen. And she's so fun.
And you got Ray Liotta.
Yeah, that's random. And then, yeah, everybody. Maya Rudolph. Fun.
Tim Meadows.
Michael Chiklis was unexpected.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever expect him to be funny.
Well, but see, you got to remember though, he's played a lot of like lighthearted roles over the last few years.
Yeah, but he's funny.
He's the
really
quintessential cop character, like from he's on The Shield. Then he showed up in Gotham as like the chief of police, and he was the Thing in Fantastic Four. But,
yeah, I know that was pretty.
but he's kind of comical.
That's dumb.
But yeah, this movie is just ridiculous fun.
It's good. Oh, and then this.
Oh, yeah. Well, Shaquille O'Neal's another one that has showed up in a lot of Adam Sandler stuff now.
He's so funny.
He's
like so personable and funny.
Because remember, he's in Grown Ups as the police officer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you don't expect it, but man, and then his
the only one I was disappointed didn't show up this time was Vanilla Ice.
Why did you expect him?
Because he's been in a few of the Adam Sandler movies. And so, remember he was in that one playing Vanilla Ice with him and Andy Samberg?
Yeah,
and then he showed up in a different one. I forgot what it is.
That's a good
So I was just hoping that maybe he'd pop in again, but who knows?
That's okay.
But yeah,
Anyway,
this movie could
it's
have
so cute.
easily been a sequel to The Waterboy during Halloween.
Maybe so.
It had that vibe to it, but I loved it. I thought it was so much
It
fun.
was so good.
It was so
You
silly.
need to go watch it. Check it out. Go
So
read a
there's
review.
there's an actual goofing element to it. The majority of the film is like looking for that next gag.
Yeah.
It's not taking itself too seriously or trying to be anything other than what it is.
Yeah.
But then there's an underlining mystery.
Yes, there's
It's
a lot
kind
of
of
done it too.
A scary mystery that reminded me of like an R.L. Stein book.
Yes.
Kind of goofiness.
It's cute. I mean, I think this is totally a family movie.
Yeah, but then it has that twist at the end of
You're
what
like,
it actually
what?
is. And then it's like, it
has kind of a
has a little
little
message.
Scooby-Doo moment.
It does, and then it has a little message at the end of it, you know, that
That's so
kind of
cute.
works. So it's a great little movie. You should check it out on Netflix, not YouTube, on Netflix. And
You're on YouTube.
Big props to Adam Sandler. I hope he does
So
another
good.
one. I think it'd be fun to
It was
have
good.
a new Hubie.
Why
I
can
can't
you
say
not
it.
say Hubie?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Rubik's Cubies.
Moving on. Let's wrap it up, babe.
All right, sister. Let's do that.
Gotta go get my dog out.
All right. So
Wilderness.
we're talking about what am I doing next?
You're
Coming
gonna
out.
tell me what's coming out.
Do I talk about Blu-ray yet?
Yes.
Or is that me or is that you?
That's you.
Are we on contests?
Do this first.
Do this first. Okay, so this week there's a variety of things coming out. First, we got Space Ghost and Dino Boy, the complete series.
Space Ghost.
This is the original series of Space
Ah.
Ghost. They did Space Ghost again before he became a talk show host, but this is the original.
What are you listening to?
Oh my God, I got to tell you this funny story because I haven't told you yet either.
She's listening.
During my Muay Thai class today, I was teaching, and I guess I hit my watch
Mhm.
because I was talking about, with Muay Thai you do elbows, and we were talking about push-ups, and I said something about elbows, and I happened to look down at my watch, and there's suddenly a picture of an elbow on my watch. And it's like, here's what I found for elbow, and it's a picture of an elbow, and I'm talking to everybody, I said, look, my watch just sent me a picture of an elbow. It was really
I'm
weird.
telling you, they pick up weird sounds.
Anyway, so Space Ghost and Dino Boy, the complete series. Hanna-Barbera used to do a lot of these shows where it was like 2-off type
Yeah,
shows,
different
and they were
things
like
together.
little short. Yeah, so most episode is like 2 episodes of Space Ghost, 1 episode of Dino Boy. It's a fun little set. I always love Space Ghost, not so much Dino Boy, but it works. Also, coming up this week, I believe this week, the movie Broil is coming out, which we'll be talking about next week. We're also giving away copies of this, so enter for your copy.
Yeah.
This week,
Says right here.
huh?
Says right there. Tuesday.
It does, doesn't it? Listen, look at this. Looks like
You
it's
have
in
too
it.
many things.
All right, I left the other ones in there. Also this week, the movie The Doorman, starring Ruby Rose and Jean Reno. Jean Reno, whatever his name is, from The Professional,
Yes.
a.k.a. Leon.
Mm.
And I got to interview Ruby Rose. If you don't know who Ruby Rose is, she was the original star of Batwoman, and she was in John Wick 2. Was it 2?
Yes.
Or was it the first one?
No, it was 2, I thought.
I don't remember now.
I don't know.
I think it's
the
2.
second one.
She was in one of the John Wick movies. She's been in Resident Evil movies. She's been in Triple X or something. She was in a bunch of stuff. So anyway, The Doorman comes out this week. Also, District 9 is getting the 4K treatment. Yes.
Y'all need to watch that.
Requiem for a Dream is getting the 4K treatment. Last Starfighter is getting an all-new Blu-ray release. Vikings Season 6 Volume 1 is coming out. And one of my, the Flintstones, the complete series, I don't really care about the Flintstones. Not a fan.
Wow.
I'm really not a fan of the Flintstones.
I like them.
I'm not a fan of Flintstones, the Jetsons.
Oh, that whole period.
I also wasn't a fan of Bugs Bunny and all that stuff, really. Disney. I was more of a Tex Avery guy. I like the Droopy and Barney Bear and Screwball Squirrels.
They were so
I
good.
watched all these cartoons. I still will watch them, but they're just not my favorites. Anyway,
Okay.
the big one to me this week was really cool. We're going to talk about it next week. It was Batman Death in the Family, which is an interactive Blu-ray film taking on the iconic story of Robin's death that was in the comics.
Yes.
We'll talk about it next week, so maybe
really
I think you need to watch it because I'd
Yeah,
like
I
to
need
discuss
to.
it. I'll rewatch it if you want. So anyway, those are the big ones coming out this week.
Okay, coming out on the line or theater or wherever Friday. Something called Two Hearts on Netflix. Two couples, different time period, something brings them together. Based on an inspirational true story. Oh, Two Hearts. Something coming to Disney Plus called Clouds. Also based on a true story. Some girl in high school or something happens. Heartbreak, inspiring story, Clouds. Coming to Netflix, The Trial of
Oh,
the
excited for that
Chicago
one.
7, based on the 1968 protests where the people who organized the protest were suddenly charged with inciting a riot, even though it was just a normal
That's got
protest.
Sacha Baron Cohen and a bunch of people.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that one.
Seth Rogen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Michael Keaton. It's a big deal, so we've got to watch that.
Yeah.
Video on demand or digital, Monochrome the Chromism. I don't even know what this is about, but something happens.
Something happens.
The Devil Has a Name on video on demand and digital. I don't know what this is about either, but it has Alfred Molina, so I'm kind of in. And Kate Bosworth. Edward James Olmos, Haley Joel Osment. I'm there. We'll watch it.
Can't say the names, but she's gonna watch that movie.
And then that's it. Everything else is kind of limited release. Something
Love
called Love and
my God.
Monsters, video on demand and digital.
Is that the one with Dylan O'Brien? I don't know.
Yes, Dylan O'Brien.
Yes, that movie looks so awesome.
Hurtwick.
I posted a trailer in it, so that
This
looks
is
awesome.
interesting. It's where they're living underground, underwater, right? Because the Earth's been taken over by the water and sea creatures.
No, this one's they're walking around and there's like monsters walking the earth.
Living underground after giant creatures took
I know, but
control.
not underwater.
Sorry,
I mean,
we're underground.
That's why
I just know
good.
monsters took over, right?
Something like that. The trailer looks awesome. You need to watch it.
So are we back in like an ice age type thing?
No, I think it's kind of a post-apocalyptic kind of thing, but there's monsters, but then there's
Godzilla
love story.
together?
Yeah, it's kind of that thing, but then there's like love story.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah. And also, like I mentioned earlier, we have the next two in the Welcome to Blumhouse, Evil Eye and Nocturne, with Amazon on Tuesday, I believe. Also, we have our giveaways. Do what?
Oh, I started reading about things coming up this week.
Also, one of our giveaways, two of them I don't have here with me, is Cutthroat City, the new movie by the RZA that's coming out from Logo USA that we talked about on this show. Sea Level double feature, Sea Level 1 and 2.
Oh, that looks so cute.
We have those still up. And also, as I mentioned, we got Broil to give away.
That looks weird.
Right? Then we have, still have 300 on 4K to try to win a copy of.
That's gotta look
and the
amazing.
latest one we've added to it is Picard, the complete season 1. So if you're a Star Trek fan, now's your chance to win a copy of Picard on Blu-ray.
I like me some Jean-Luc Picard.
Yes.
He's a cute little old man.
Jean-Luc Picard and his dog.
There you go. Love it.
So that's
make sure you go to the website, HollywoodMatrimony.com, click on that contest button, and it will take you right to where you need to be. Follow the rules, please, and the movie could be yours. Don't just send us a random, hey, I want to win this copy or whatever. Send it to me.
Follow the rules.
Well, some people don't follow
I get
the
a lot of
rules.
those where they just say, send me this. Did you know, I didn't tell you, since we don't really have our theater experiences right now, I'll tell you my Instagram experience.
Okay.
I had someone comment on my review for The Legend of Tomorrow's.
Yes.
And I guess it upset them.
Why?
Not my review so much, but the movie about, is it the Israeli people?
The Turkish people. So there was some controversy because they were saying it was the Turks or whatever, and they're like, no, that's not exactly what happened.
Here,
so there has been
I'm going to
controversy.
tell you exactly what it says. Hold on.
I read about it.
So here's it. It says, this person says, it is enough to distort history. The land of Iran is the land of civilization and pride. The whole world knows this. By distorting the history, humiliating the history of Cyrus the Great, you cannot make a proud history for yourself.
Yes, people were upset that it shows.
So they commented on my review with that statement.
And her people, the Turks or the Bedouins or whoever, taking over and killing him, the king.
Yeah.
They're upset by that.
But here's the problem, is the person that sends this to me has 107 followers, or following 107 people, and 0 posts. So it's somebody I'm not going to pay attention to.
No, but I did read that, and I was going to mention that. There was controversy because, like, this is not exactly how the history happened.
Yeah, well, there's always that kind of stuff.
And so those people from Persia were upset about this, and the Turks were like, that's not the actual language that was spoken. So there's all this controversy. But you know what? It's a movie based on a true story.
It's not really about the Amazons either, but they're using that as marketing. So,
you know,
like somebody else made the point.
It's a movie, though, too.
About this movie. I forgot to tell you, one of our friends talked about, with him taking on the Persian god.
Yeah.
He's like, we were talking about 300, which is about them taking on the Persian god.
Oh my goodness.
And Xerxes. And he asked me, he goes, I just watched that Legend of Tomorrow. So I was like, yeah. And he goes, how many different people are killing this guy?
Well, it's a different king.
I know, it's just funny because it was the Persian thing. Because he doesn't die in 300, but I think he got killed in the Rise of the Empire sequel.
This is a different one, though, too.
But I know, it's just funny. Is they're like, how many people are killing that same person or that same people?
They're different.
Anyway, all right.
That's it. Thank you so much for watching this live on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Go like, share, comment, subscribe, all of those things. Tweet it. Tweet it to the heavens. We're also on Instagram and Twitter.
And our shows, Hollywood Matrimonies, Martial Art Movie Mondays, and TV Tuesdays will be returning soon, but they will no longer be live. We're going to do pre-recorded shows.
They won't know that.
Well, they will, because it won't say live. Anyway, we're going to do, the reason we're doing that is so we can make sure we get them done, and so we can both be on all the shows together.
Oh, that'll be fun.
So we're going to start getting some pre-recorded shows. We'll try to drop them on the proper days, get back on track like life is supposed to be for all your joy and entertainment. So if there's any martial art movie you want to hear us talk about, or any kind of TV show you want to know what we think about, let us know.
I've been watching lots of TV.
Oh, yes. And then she always does. But then we'll also be back next Sunday for all new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live, where we'll talk about all kinds of new nonsense.
Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week.
Hit that subscribe button.